Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our UCD Smurfit MSc Careers session. My name is Louise Campbell, and I am the Senior Manager of the UCD Smurfit Careers Network. Over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to start by giving you a brief overview of the careers service here at Smurfit, and then we will move to our panel discussion with four of our fantastic alumni who will share their own experiences of life at Smurfit and their career journeys since graduation. After that, we will open the floor for a short Q&A where my colleague Kathy will pose some of your questions that you put through the chat. So let's get started with a quick look at what we do at the Smurfit Careers Network. So at UCD Smurfit, our Careers Network is here to support you from day one of your programme through career exploration, skills development, job search, and transition into employment. We provide a number of different events for our students throughout the calendar year. The first would be our professional development workshops, which introduces you to the Careers Network and our services. Also the Irish recruitment market, understanding what employers are looking for when they're hiring, and also what a good CV looks like. And we will give you all access to AI-powered tech to assist you with getting your CV ready to stand out in the Irish market. We also provide workshops throughout the year on CVs, interview techniques, and networking throughout the year. We provide one-on-one coaching with experienced career consultants from October onwards. A big feature of the Careers Network is our Industry Insights events, where we will get industry specialists to come in on campus for specific cohorts such as consulting, finance, tech, marketing, sustainability, who will give you insights into their world, into their roles, and into the market at the moment. We will also give you access to our UCD Smurfit Career Portal, which houses live job opportunities, employer events, and numerous videos, webinars, and career tools. Also, our annual recruitment fair takes place every October, where we host a number of employers on campus, and you'll have the opportunity to start networking and uncovering job opportunities early in the year. We also host a variety of employers on campus throughout the year for employer spotlights and tailored talks for specific programs. Then also certain programs will have access to mock interviews, and we also run company visits with numerous opportunities to network in your markets of choice. We work very closely with employers across the Irish market, and obviously our alumni network of business graduates worldwide is one of your most valuable lifelong resources. Ultimately, our goal here in the Careers Network is to help you make informed and confident career decisions, and also to support you in every step of your journey from Smurfit student to Smurfit alum. And now I would like to turn to our panel of recent graduates who can all bring this to life through their own experiences. And I'm delighted to be joined this evening by four of our MSc alumni. We have Ashwin, we have Kathleen, we have Connor, and we have Druvy. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening, and it's wonderful to have you back with us. I'm going to start with introductions, and if I can ask each of you to please tell us your full name, your undergraduate degree, the MSc program that you completed at Smurfit, and your current role and employer. And Connor, I'm going to start with you, please.
Amazing, and thank you for that introduction. So hello everyone, my name is Connor Brown. Pleasure to be here. For my undergrad, I was actually studying in the UCD Quinn School, so I did the BCom International there in Dublin before moving down to Smurfit in Blackrock and studying the Masters in Marketing and Retail Innovation. And nowadays, post-graduation, I work for Kraft Heinz, or we might know them as Heinz in the UK and Ireland, to do all the ketchups. And I work in what we call our away from home team. So we deal with all of our venues, our stadiums, our hotels, anything that isn't really your stores. So pleasure to be here and looking forward to it.
Connor, thank you for that. I will move to Kathleen.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Kathleen Boyles. I did my undergraduate degree in the US in business administration with a focus in marketing and management. And then I did my master's at Smurfit in digital innovation. And I'm currently a project management officer, or a PMO, at Sagetti Ireland. And I'm really excited to be here with you all today.
Kathleen, thank you for joining us. Ashwin.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me on this particular webinar. So, I completed my undergraduate degree in economics from the University of Delhi back in India. Right now, I'm working with Grant Thornton as a financial accounting analyst, and I graduated from Smurfit in the year 2023, and I completed my master's in quantitative finance. So, yeah, really looking forward to this particular panel discussion, and thank you again.
Ashwin, thank you. And last but not least, Dhruvi.
Hello, everyone. I'm Louise Campbell. I did my undergraduation in Bachelor's of Commerce while studying for the Chartered Accountancy course at Mumbai University in India. I completed SEM's MSc International Management in 2024 from Smurfit, and I'm currently working as a consultant in finance transformation at Deloitte.
Fantastic. Thank you all, and thank you again for joining us this evening. Let's dive into some questions. My first question, a rather obvious one, but why did you choose to study at Smurfit? And Connor, I'm going to go round and start with you again first.
Brilliant, not a bother. I think a couple of reasons really stood out. First and foremost, its reputation, both nationally and globally. I think having studied the undergrad in UCD, I was constantly hearing about Smurfit. Lecturers that I had were singing its praises, and you hear about it all the time. Such a strong academic reputation. But aside from the academic side, it was also the diversity of everyone on the campus, and not just nationalities, but also in terms of actual academic backgrounds. You'd see from studying there, people are coming from all sorts of backgrounds. I think that was just such a draw for me, especially when you're trying to go into the kind of global business sphere where you're working with so many different types of people. So I think reputation and also that kind of diversity feature too was top of the list for me.
Connor, that's great. Thank you. Kathleen, what about yourself?
I think sort of pivoting off of what Connor said, it's definitely the global aspect. I did my undergraduate degree in Washington, D.C., which is a very global city. And I knew post my undergraduate degree, I wanted to continue being in a very global and diverse space. And when looking at master's programs, Smurfit really stood out for me in that respect. And also it is accredited by multiple different accreditations. So I know that if I wanted to move from Ireland to Dubai or to New York or to Sydney, I have that global brand recognition that Smurfit carries.
That's really interesting, Kathleen. And I think we're hearing increasingly more about the global aspect being a decision-making factor for people as the world becomes such a small place, and when we look at it from a global mobility point of view. Thank you for that, Kathleen. Ashwin, what about yourself?
Yeah, I think completely agree with the points that Connor and Kathleen made. So, adding on to their points, I think some of the things that were quite specific to my degree, for example, the MSc Quantitative Finance offered a collaboration with the Yale School of Management to do their module on security analysis and valuation. So, and I was fortunate enough to get selected for that particular module as well. So I think that was one of the factors that, actually propelled me to, pursue a master's degree at Smurfit because of that collaboration with Yale and to be in that class with the Yale MBA students. So that was one particular aspect. The second aspect was that, towards the last semester, we actually had an option to either choose additional subjects or, choose an internship. So, that flexibility and that choice that the master's degree had to offer were the two additional points for me, apart from obviously the reputation and the brand that Smurfit has to offer.
Thank you, Ashwin. That's so interesting. And Dhruvi, what about yourself?
As the last person and at the cost of repetition, definitely the global brand and the network. It's the kind of university that instantly opens doors for you. So that as being the first point. The second point, it's the only university in Ireland that actually offers the SEMS program. So that was a very, very big point for me. And then the third point being the alumni network. So I think there's more than 100,000 alumni worldwide, and there's always someone who knows someone who knows someone. And that's the kind of network that I absolutely wanted to be a part of.
Fantastic, Dhruvi. Thank you for that. And I think, again, the network and the Smurfit alumni, people are often surprised at, even though it's so big, it really is so small in terms of the amount of people who will be able to connect you with other people. So it works well. Dhruvi, I'm going to stay with you so you don't have to repeat anyone else's answers for the next question. What surprised you most when you began your MSc at Smurfit?
So I was the only Indian in my cohort of home students, and I think there was so much diversity, not only in nationalities, but also in perspectives. So when you walked into a room, there were so many different ways of thinking, and you absolutely had to challenge yourself and get out of your comfort zone. So I think that really surprised me and stood out to me. Having said that, also, just with the evolving dynamic landscape that AI has today, the university material was so relevant and up to date with practical business case studies that it really helped me get into the real world.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. Thank you, Dhruvi. Ashwin, what about yourself?
Yeah, so I think adding on to Dhruvi's points, also when I came to my class in class of MSc Quantitative Finance, there were so many people from so many different countries, and I think it presented a wonderful opportunity to not just, study in the same classroom, but also, just to get to know about the cultures and different aspects that are associated with the people from different countries. So that was one aspect that surprised me the most. Another thing was that, in our finance program, we were having either some kind of assignments, projects, or there was something happening every other week. And if on one particular week you don't have a project, there's some alumni event happening, there's a networking event happening. So I'd say that there was no week that went without any particular activity. There was something or the other happening either in the classroom or on the campus. So I think the entire liveliness of Smurfit as a whole was something that really surprised me, and I enjoyed it, to say the least.
For sure, you'll be kept busy throughout the year.
Oh
That's
yeah,
one thing
totally,
for certain.
absolutely.
Kathleen, what about yourself?
Yeah, similar to the points that were made before, I was the only American in my cohort, and coming from a school that in the US where it was almost 90% Americans, it was great to be around different nationalities, people with different backgrounds and different life experiences than myself. But one of the other things that really surprised me when I came is when you step on campus to Smurfit, there's so much going on immediately as you step on, orientations, invitations to different events, different alumni panels, networking events, and different co-curriculars. So you're so busy, not just in the classroom, but on the campus itself and really making an impact.
That's great. And Kathleen, the diversity, I think it's really apparent in Smurfit, and I think it's very reflective of the workplace at the moment as well. So, it's great to have that. Connor, what about yourself?
It is tougher going last in this, isn't it? But no, genuinely no. I think what surprised me most was like how accessible the professors and the lecturers actually are. It's amazing. You can grab a coffee with them after a class. You can grab them for 5 or 10 minutes. They really, really do care, and it was just amazing to see. And I think that was also not so much a surprise, but like a welcomed addition, that it really does feel like a home on the campus. And I know for myself, I'd only travel, say, down the road, but for a lot of international students, it's amazing how much of a home it feels like, and everyone's in it together. So that's probably it for me.
Oh, that's lovely. That's a really nice insight. Thank you for sharing that. Kathleen, I'll start with you now. What were the highlights of your Smurfit experience, and whether they be academic or personal? Talk us through that.
Sure. So I have to preface this with the fact that I started at Smurfit at a very unique time. I started in 2021 during the pandemic. So I was not having the experience that a lot of the other panelists were having. So it was very hybrid. So one of my highlights was actually getting to meet everyone in person, because we would have weeks where we would be completely remote or completely in person. So that was one of my highlights, but also getting involved in the co-curriculars. I was involved in the global leadership program, and that got me off campus and really got me involved into the community by doing different volunteer projects and different events across the city. And I think that was a really great way to integrate myself, not just into UCD, but into Dublin and the greater Irish community.
Fantastic, Kathleen. And I think a lot of people would say that about the Global Leadership Program. Connor, what about yourself?
Yeah, I think a personal highlight of mine was probably becoming the class ambassador for the marketing and retail program. A fantastic experience. You really get to know your lecturers, your classmates on a very personal level. You get to organize some events. And you know what? I'd highly encourage anyone on the call, when the time does come, to put your hand up and put yourself forward. It really is worthwhile. And I think maybe a more course-specific academic highlight for the marketing and retail innovation was a summer project that we got to conduct alongside Aldi Ireland, which, for anyone who's interested in their marketing and their retail, it's an amazing opportunity to get hands-on with such a multinational company such as Aldi. So I think both personal and professional highlights there across the year.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Connor. Dhruvi, what about yourself?
I think I had two specific highlights to echo with Kathleen, I think. So we had a business project as well, and it was with Accenture. So it really gave me a real world perspective into what consultancy would look like and really get out and talk to the client. It wasn't, professors intervening. In fact, they encouraged direct communication.
Excellent.
And then I think that was really, really helpful, just getting out into the real world. That was one. And then the second one was the tech tour. So we had a tech tour where we went across to all the tech companies in Ireland, including Google, Microsoft, LinkedIn, Salesforce. So it was only my second day at Deloitte. And I was having a conversation with the senior management, and they were just shocked by the number of companies I'd already been to. So I think that was a big highlight for me.
Fantastic. Yeah, the company visits are great fun, aren't they? They're
Yeah.
very insightful. Thanks, Dhruvi. Ashwin, what about yourself?
Yeah, I think so. Professionally, during the master's program, one of the key highlights for me was the opportunity to get into the, again, security analysis program at the Yale School of Management. Because, I mean, for me, just right after my undergraduate degree, debating and, having this discussion with the professionals who have worked, let's say for 5 years or 6 years, they're MBA students at Yale, having the opportunity to discuss things with them, and when they end up throwing questions at you and thinking on the spot, on the feet, and saving yourself, that's something that really ended up boosting my confidence, and it gave me a different perspective towards how I should probably analyze things and do activities on my own. So that was one thing. The second thing was definitely the internship program, and because I did not have to study for the last 2 months, so I love that. Plus, I was getting paid for my internship, so that internship opportunity was the first ever corporate experience for me. So that's something, that's another highlight for me. Personally, I think because earlier back in India, I was living with my family, never had to cook my own food, do my own laundry, travel on my own. So, you know, from India, coming to Dublin, to a different new country, doing everything on your own. So I think that entire 1 year personally was an highlight in its own. So that's something that I would like to say. Yeah.
A huge experience. Thank you
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sharing that, Ashwin. I will stay with you, Ashwin, and I will ask you, while you were on the program, were there any career-related activities that helped you in
Oh yeah,
particular?
yeah, definitely. I think some of the most useful activities was the CV clinic, in which you can
Yeah.
actually go to a professional at UCD and have your CV assessed, and they actually check if your CV is up to the mark. If you're applying for a particular position, does your CV has the needed number of keywords, or if the experience that you're putting on your CV is if it's either relevant or not.
Relevant.
So CV clinic was definitely one thing, and second is the different kind of networking opportunities and career fairs that we have on campus Smurfit. So you actually get to attend those career fairs to meet with industry professionals, and I think it really helps you in understanding different kind of programs and
Hmm.
graduate programs and job opportunities that the companies have to offer, and you can definitely learn more about the companies and the job the job profile in general. So I think these two are the things that definitely helped me in making the informed choice and just to know more about the job market and the Irish market in general.
Oh, that's great. Ashwin, thank you for that. Kathleen, what about yourself?
Was really helpful. But I also really took advantage of the sessions with the career advisors in the Career Center. Coming from the US to an international job market, there were definitely things that were really different from applying to jobs in the US versus in Ireland. And the career advisors were so helpful to really point out those differences and discuss those with you and how to mold your CV and mold your profile to fit the Irish job market. And I think Smurfit did a great job at really including international students that wanted to stay in Ireland, but also international students that wanted to go home, or even Irish students that wanted to move abroad. They were really in tune to different job markets across the globe.
Kathleen, that's great. Thank you. Dhruvi, what about yourself?
Yes, there were so many opportunities I've listed down. I'm just going to note them so then I don't forget. There was personal mentorship, there were mock interviews, there were career fairs where you got to talk to recruiters directly. There were employer presentations where employers directly came and spoke to you. So it was really nice getting that insight directly. And I think that Smurfit also provided access to tools like ATS scanning, which are usually paid and often used for all company screening processes. So I think that was definitely a big help in applying to companies. And like Kathleen said, the center also helped in tailoring your CV to different geographies and not just Ireland. So include your photo, don't include your photo, have this format, don't have it. So I think it was very personal and very tailored to what the specific needs were. And yeah.
Fantastic, Dhruvi. Thank you for that. Connor, you have the difficult job. Is there anything left? Anything
You're
else that you
testing
can
me
think
here.
of?
No, genuinely, no, I couldn't agree more with the team in terms of both the careers team and also the online resources. And even if you take a step back from that again, I know I've said it already, but having a 5 or 10 minute conversation with the professor who's teaching you a subject that you have a genuine interest in, it can open a lot of doors. And simpler again, the people you're in the classroom with, there's always opportunity to kind of talk careers with them too. People have so many different ideas when they're in the classroom. So just listening, chatting, and then of course everything that everyone else has said too.
That's great. Connor, thank you for that. I have one final question for you all before we open up the floor to a Q&A. And I will start with you, Kathleen. After graduating, upon graduation, how has your MSc impacted your current career?
I think it's definitely impacted my current career, especially my degree program really focused on group projects and group work, and working in a consultancy. That is a lot of my day is working with different groups of people from across the globe and with different people and different experiences. So I always feel really prepared when I go into meetings with new people. And I work in a really international company. So one of the teams that I work on, everyone is from across the EU and across the globe. So I think having those experiences of working with, different backgrounds really prepared me to go into, different groups and different projects.
Real life workplaces. That's fantastic. Thanks, Kathleen. Dhruvi, what about you?
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. And I think I came from a very functional finance background, and Smurfit really helped me get the overall structured problem-solving perspective where I was able to better present my thoughts and to put them in presentations, or even those networking skills where you'd be drained of social energy when you're studying and around all year. But then that has really, really helped me. And I think that I use those skills to date at my current role in Deloitte.
Fantastic, Dhruvi. Thank you for that. I'm going to ask a different question now to Connor, and I'm going to say, If you were to give any career advice to the people who are listening tonight, who are maybe considering looking at a Smurfit Masters, what would you say to them?
Well, simply put, I'd say absolutely go for it and jump right in. But I suppose what I would say advice wise is don't be deterred if your background isn't necessarily in a business subject. You know, it's not a prerequisite for coming to Smurfit at all. Honestly, I think part of the appeal of the school is again that diversity from academic background. So I would say if you're thinking about it, you know, give some thought to the program you want to do, but jump right in. And also, I would also say, and this is me personally, but I'm sure the panelists would agree, reach out to the likes of us and ask us questions if you're thinking about coming. More than happy to answer any questions, but go for it is what I would say.
Fantastic, Connor. Thank you. Ashwin, what about yourself?
Yeah, I completely agree with all the points that Connor made. So, adding on to your points, Connor, I think I'd want to say that it's very important to start from the very beginning. It's very important to start early because I feel the thing is you just have 1 year on your master's program in which you need to study, you need to network, you need to attend workshops, you need to do everything that you can in your capacity. So it becomes very important to start from the very beginning, to have your CV, to have your cover letter, and everything just have in place from the very beginning because um, that is what is going to propel you and help you to get possibly ahead of the competition if you're applying for jobs, or let's say even if you're applying for PhD programs in general. So I think I'll just reiterate the same point to get started from the very beginning, and it'll just help you get everything in order from the very beginning.
Ashwin, thank you for that. And thank you all so much for those really thoughtful insights. And I'm sure the audience and the people listening tonight are going to find them very relatable and hopefully very encouraging. I think if there's, from my side, listening to you all, if there's a key message to take away, it's that the Smurfit MSc isn't necessarily just an academic program. It's a really transformational experience, and it equips you with a huge variety of skills and connections and certainly confidence to succeed in your career. And congratulations to you all on your wonderful careers. I'm now going to pass you over, I think, to my colleague Kathy, who is online, who has been looking at questions for the evening.
Great,
Kathy, over
thank
to
you.
you.
Thanks so much, Louise. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kathy Timlin, Marketing Manager here at UCD Smurfit School, and we also have Laura Keeley and Elaine Ahern from our admissions team, who are happy to answer any questions about applying to Smurfit. But just in terms of key questions that have come in, I guess there's one question around, non-EU students coming here, and perhaps obviously there is a 2-year stay-back visa applicable to non-EU candidates. And there's a question around, identifying employers who might offer sponsorship for people who want to stay in Ireland. That's one aspect. And then separately, what was your experience of the job hunting process as somebody from outside Ireland? So if maybe to Ashwin, do you want to maybe start with that one?
Yeah, definitely. So, let me just see what the question was once again.
So I guess it's
Locating
the
employers.
sponsorship. Yeah, are there sponsorship
Yeah.
opportunities? Um,
So,
and then just the job hunt.
yeah, I think so. The first part of it, I think as far as graduate programs are concerned, sponsorship is not really needed because for most of the grad programs, they are generally willing to take you on a 1G that, you automatically become eligible right after you complete your master's or a bachelor's degree from Ireland because you are eligible to get a 2-year work visa on 1G. Post that, you would definitely need some sort of sponsorship, probably a stamp one, so that you can work, post 2 years after your 1G completes. In some cases, there can be an extension as well. But I think as far as grad programs are concerned, 2 years of 1G visa, that's there. For some of the job opportunities, I think you might have to directly contact either the recruiter or the HR to actually understand if they are actually giving sponsorships or not. And sometimes you can find that particular relevant information on LinkedIn and on the website of the recruiter as well in the application form, in which they explicitly state if this particular job needs a sponsorship or not. So I think that's how these are some of the things that you can do to navigate and filter out to see what are the exact opportunities that need you to have a sponsorship and other opportunities that maybe don't offer you a sponsorship. So these are some of the things that you can do.
And Ashwin, on that note, just following that point, I would say Ireland is home to many major multinationals. We have gone through a
Definitely.
huge transformation period in the past 20
Yeah.
years where we are no longer really domestic focused. So sponsoring visas and having an international diverse workforce is really par for the course these days in most companies.
Yeah.
So it certainly has changed hugely in the past 20 years and no longer would be seen as a small economy. We're very much
Definitely.
a global outward facing economy.
Definitely.
So Dhruvi or Kathleen, would you have any other viewpoints in terms of your experience of job hunting and networking here as when you came to Smurfit?
Yes, just to add on to the previous points, I think that Smurfit also has a corporate office. I'm not sure if that's the term, but there's somebody who will always help you. Like the Career Services Center also helped me personally with a list of companies that kind of sponsor visas. And also, like I mentioned before, the alumni network is huge. So whenever you go to LinkedIn and you go to a company that you'd want to get into, you immediately look at the Smurfit alumni. And from my experience, everybody has responded. So there's, you can schedule coffee chats, you can have connects with people to get that perspective into what you'd need or what documents you'd need to keep ready for sponsorship. But there's always someone who's willing to help you, and there's many companies that do sponsor visas over here.
Brilliant. Thank you, Dhruvi. Kathleen, do you have anything further on that point?
Yeah, just to add on to that, the resources at Smurfit don't just end at Smurfit because Smurfit is part of UCD. So I also got some of my support from the UCD Global Office on the main Belfield campus, especially to understand the types of visas and stay back visa opportunities. So one of the Career Center advisors directed me towards that office, which is on the other campus. So there are tons of resources, not just on the Smurfit campus, but on the larger campus, the Belfield campus, that can help you as well. So you have lots of resources available to you.
Great, thank you for that, Kathleen. And there's a question here that's come in for Connor, just relating to the options for the marketing masters. This candidate is deciding between our masters in digital marketing and marketing practice. Would you have any advice or tips if you're not sure what exact area of marketing you might like to work in? And obviously Laura and Elaine, you might have a view as well. We'd start with Connor.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, to be fair. And I got a lot of insight into the digital marketing course alongside the marketing retail. What I would say is if you're not sure what side of marketing you want to go into, digital marketing is, I know this might sound obvious, but it is quite focused on the digital space. So if you're not quite sure, I think there's the just regular masters in marketing, which is a bit broader again. But also the marketing and practice is an amazing course and it's very hands-on. It almost goes away from your traditional classroom setting and is a lot of practical work just from a couple of people I know who have done it. So I think if you'd be unsure, and I don't want to sway your decision, but I would say the marketing practice is amazing hands-on experience and you'll, I suppose, get to understand marketing across a host of spheres, as opposed to maybe the digital, which is more focused on that digital element. You'll get a broad understanding, but maybe more streamlined in that direction. So I would probably sway towards the practice or the general masters in marketing, I would think, if you're unsure.
Thanks.
Yeah, just to support Kathy, what Connor's saying there. So The marketing practice program is what we would call an experiential masters. So you learn on the job, really. So it does require you to be on campus 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So it's a very different experience. You work with real life clients, and while you are doing some of the lectures that the other marketing students would be doing, the core modules, you are actually working in experiential teams. So for example, Connor could be leading out on one client, and then, you know, another team, maybe Laura's leading out on a team, and that you are responsible for that team. You get quite a lot of exposure to market research, and you're required to actually do market research for these live clients, really. So it's a little bit different. As I said, it's experiential learning rather than learning by theory, I guess. The digital marketing and the masters in marketing would be more theoretical, and as the program that Connor did, the marketing, retail, and innovation, would be more theoretical programs, really. So it's applied as opposed to theoretical. We're happy, both Laura and myself, to follow up if you've any questions with either of us on those programs. Just to say, there is an interview for the marketing practice program, but you know, you can have two options once you apply to us. So you know, you could apply for the marketing practice and you know, have the offer, but then also have other programs. Laura, do you want to add anything there?
No, I think actually what everybody said is really good advice. I think just, I suppose, for to just looking at Louise there, you know, you need to think about your career as well. So, you know, exactly, digital marketing is very specialized. So you need to think about kind of what career you'd like, and then kind of work towards that when picking your masters too. But yeah, I know it is a question because we have 4 marketing programs, so it's very hard to kind of pick between them. But always think about your career, and then like what you're going to learn, how you're going to learn as well with the marketing practice. But that's why we're here at Admissions, to help you. So do feel free to reach out to us, and we can have a chat as well about all the marketing practice or all the marketing programs that we have here at Smurfit.
Yeah, and I've shared a couple of links there, just you know, in terms of follow-up queries that you might have, and just to mention as well that we will be hosting another careers panel discussion on Monday, November 24th, as part of UCD Masters Week, alongside some other sessions that day. So I've shared the link where you can pre-register to attend that also, and another member of our Careers Network team, Michael MacDonald, will be hosting that session. So I can't see any other open questions.
I suppose there's only one observation, Kathy, and I think Louise's team is fantastic. They're based here in the campus, and they're a fantastic resource. I mean, they really are. But what strikes me is that all of you were engaged yourself, and you know, you did your part, and you sort of got involved. And I suppose that's the thing that strikes me, that you'll get out of this what you put into it, I guess. And I don't know if that's something you believe in, but I certainly see all of you, you know, you came from very different perspectives, but you know, and you did different programs, but you all seem to me to have put yourselves into it and kind of committed to it. And they're the people that we generally see get the most out of it and succeed. Exactly. And so while the career teams are fantastic, they can only do so much as well if you're not going to. And I don't know if any of you wanted to sort of, you know, I suppose support that, but I certainly would see, you know, employers are looking for something a little bit different as well. So it's the person who puts up their hand and says, you know, I'm joining the GLP, I'm going to be part of the Global Leadership Program, I'm going to join, I'm going to be a class rep. Everybody who's going to apply for whatever role you're looking for, they've already got a 2-1 or first class honours in their masters. So it's, you know, they've already got something else, but you know, they play sport or they play music. So it's doing something to differentiate you. And I think that's, Louise, what we hear more and more, is it not, from employers?
Absolutely. I think throw yourselves in. If you're going to do it with your heart and soul, and you know, interact and engage with the GLP, interact and engage with the careers team. I mean, I met some people, a very small amount of people, but for the first time last May. And I said, why didn't you come and see me in September, October? Please, now we're totally on the back foot. And it's the people, as you said, Elaine, who are really engaging from day one, and spinning all these plates in the air, and managing to thrive at the same time, that are the ones that are seeing huge success. I've got 4 people on the panel tonight.
Yeah, just briefly, I might just ask the panelists, did any of you engage with the Global Leadership Programme that we've mentioned? And I've shared the link in the chat there. It is kind of a unique offering that all our MSc Masters are eligible to partake in. Did anybody take part in the GLP?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because quite often we do hear stories that people that engage in that program, given the breadth of activities that take place and the events, that again it's another topic and conversation that can be had at interview stage, which I'm sure employers like to hear about. Is that right, Louise?
They're always very interested in it, Kathy.
Yeah.
Because as you said, there's such variety in the program that people are stepping out of the academic zone and really showing other parts of their personality and their competencies through the GL.